Okay. Hi, everyone. I wanted to start with going over our calendar real quick so we all are on the same page with what to expect. If you saw in Rising Jewels, we have a dive-in challenge, IPA challenge today through Friday or Saturday. And I encourage you to watch those videos, do those IPA tasks, because it's just going to help grow you and help you advance with your business, all good things. We have lives from us jewels in our page every Sunday that will set up that week. We have our Golden Above call this Thursday. So that's the first Thursday of every month. And then every Monday, we'll have our accountability and our book studies. And then the 13th, mark your calendars for a surprise lunch and learn. There's something special that has been planned for you, and we haven't nailed down the exact time yet. So those details will come. And then I'll come back to this, but there's going to be another really fun event that we are just in the process of planning Thursday, the 13th, that evening. If Catherine's on, I'm going to have her speak about that in a second. Emily's level 1 retreat is happening on the 14th, 15th. We have our Rubies and Above call Friday, the 21st. And then I have my gold retreat happening in Scottsdale over the 21st, 22nd. And our stories event will close out our month on the 27th. So, and we're not meeting Halloween 31st. Okay. So, Catherine, are you on? Will you share really quick about the event that you are, had your vision for? Okay.
So hi, I'm Catherine. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Hannah's level 1. But I was just kind of like thinking, dreaming at the end of the month, moving into the beginning of the month. And just kind of trying to plan events. And I was thinking, what if and then I reached out to Hannah, but what if we framed an event that, and originally I was thinking towards the Gen Z generation, but it could be for any of us, that kind of spoke directly to people's fears and objections. So for the girl who's afraid to share, for the girl who's a broke college student, for the girl who has questions, or for the girl, what were some other ones? Just make the objections that we're kind of reaching out to and calling out in our messages, that we do that at an event. And so instead of having our traditional 2 or 3 or 4 stories, which I love and are always so impactful, kind of framing it like that. So it'd be a different way to invite people. And I also think for me, I was sitting on the sidelines a couple of months ago. And I think for me as a brand ambassador who had jumped in and was excited, but then got caught in fear, I think this could be really impactful for the people who are already on our teams as well. Yeah, exactly. Just like that, for the girl who's afraid of MLMs or whatever it might be. So that's kind of the idea. It's just in the works. But Hannah and I were kind of thinking it'd be fun to do it with some other teams. Kind of just really bring the community together and hopefully just bless a lot of people across a lot of teams. So anyway, that's the idea. It's just in the works, but we'll see how God uses it. So
I love that. I'm so excited. And I love that she had this vision and this idea, mixing things up. And she's going to reach out to a few other girls. She's like, can I take charge of the graphics? Because I know that's really important to us Gen Zers, and just totally running with this. So pumped for her. And then now I'm going to segue into Kara. I am so happy that she said yes. And I'm excited for us all to hear her story. I briefly met her at the pool in Hawaii, and I saw her with her 4 little kiddos. And I was like, oh, I see you. I have 4 kids. She has 4 kids. I wanted to meet her. And turns out that she's homeschooling as well. And so just really was drawn to her and her family. And she's from Missouri. She joined in 2014, it's been nine years. So anyways, I'm going to let her go into this, but I already know it's going to be incredible when you are sitting somewhere for so long and you are persevering and you don't give up and you haven't quit. There's going to be a word from her. So excited. Take it away, Kara.
Okay. I'm really excited to share. So I will just kind of dive into my story. I am definitely a person of faith. I try to be obedient to what God has for me. And I actually joined in 2013. And during that season of my life was actually one of the hardest seasons that I've ever walked through. And I was actually praying for something different, but did not didn't realize that I was like looking for my life to completely change. I don't know if anybody is familiar with the Jabez prayer, but I was actually doing a study on that. And whenever you're praying, you're asking God to bless you indeed, expand your territory, deliver you from evil, things like that. And I didn't even realize exactly what that was going to grasp and how wide my territory was going to be expanded and things. But I was going to school full time. I was working full time. I was trying to raise a new baby at the time. And I remember calling my mom, like crying, like, I do not want to be a part-time mom. This is not what I like. I had this desire to homeschool, like from the moment I gave birth to her, which is crazy because I grew up in public school, but God had just put that on my heart. So it was actually a little bit after that, my mom introduces me to plexus. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I've got all of this going on. And it was a couple weeks and she's like, you really need to look at this. You need to look at this. And then there was an event that was actually about 20 minutes away from our house. And she told me to go with her. And I go with her to this event and I'm literally blown away. There's all these people in this room with these crazy testimonies, losing weight, getting off medications, not wanting to smoke cigarettes anymore, like not drinking sodas anymore. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. These products must be really good. But the thing that really got my attention were these people up there sharing about plexus, and they were sharing about the opportunity and they were sharing about the money that they were making. And I looked at them and I thought, huh, if they can do this, then I could probably do this. Like they're not anybody special. They were like other moms. They were working in their community. Like one of the ladies like worked at a license bureau. Like one of them was a teacher, like just your average people that had made an adequate income with this. So that's whenever I decided, okay, like I'm going to do this. And I went home and I signed up and I ordered my welcome pack and I started sharing on Facebook. And we were really, really excited. And I actually got to Senior Ruby really quickly. And honestly, it was all through excitement. I had some other people in my community that were really excited. My mom was excited. We were all linking arms together. My mom flew to Diamond within like 9 months, which is what I thought was going to happen to me, but it didn't. Kind of had a different story there. But when I started taking the products, I started noticing that I was like, I had a newborn that was keeping me up all night. And that even though I was staying up all night, I still had the sustainable energy. My baby weight started falling off. My skin started clearing up, like great results with the products. So I'm just continuing to share. And early on, we went to convention. And if you've not been to convention, definitely going to encourage that because it just poured so much belief into me very early on. And I feel like kind of planted the seed to stick with it because I knew what I was a part of at that time. And after convention, I came home and I was a silver ambassador, and my boss at the company that I was working for at the time brought me into his office. He's like, I get it. You're excited, but like, this isn't going to work. Things like this don't work. Like, these are the plans that I have for you at this job or whatever. Like, let's not focus on that. And I like walked out and I was like, he doesn't know what I know. He hasn't seen what I've seen. And I just think that's such a pivotal moment because I've seen so many people quit because of somebody that they respect come in and tell them that this isn't going to work and this isn't going to go anywhere. And I just think like back, if I did not have the belief very early on that could have been a moment that I was like, you're right. Like, this is secure. Like, let me just stay in this lane. But I didn't. Like I said, I went to Senior Ruby and I was able to stay at home with my kids. And I was so thankful for that. And I got to a place of, for one, contentment because I had fully replaced my income. I was a nurse before plexus. So I was bringing in enough home where I could actually stay at home with my daughter. And that desire was fulfilled. But after a while, I was continuing to try to work. I had a lot of learning to do. I stayed at Senior Ruby for 7 years, you guys, and I had a lot of learning. I did not know how to lead people. I did not like confrontation. So if anybody come to me and was like, my products aren't working, I was like, oh, okay, what do I do with this? Like, I just didn't want to face any negative feedback at all. So instead of working with people like through those issues sort of thing. But I had a lot of growing to do, but I also was content until my husband, he has a construction company and he loves what he does. And he's always told me like, I'm never going to quit. I love this. And his business continued to grow. And as it continued to grow, the demands started growing as well. And he started building like these extravagant homes for more demanding clients. And it was taking our time freedom was disappearing. Like we went from a life where we could kind of do what we want to a life where we were like his schedule, like all the time. And he came home one day and I like, it makes me want to cry thinking about it. But I was like looking at his eyes and he was just so tired. And he was telling me that like he dreaded going to work. Like he was losing the love for what he was doing. And it was in that moment that I like looked at what I had and I was like, I have this opportunity. Like I can get our freedom back. I can push past this. So I put my head down and I started working on what's in my mind. I started spending more time in personal development. I started doing what I had to do to start developing myself and growing my business. And in 2020, we finally hit Emerald. And then in 2022, this year, we hit Sapphire and we hit Diamond. And we've gotten to a place where my husband has not taken on any work, any more work within the last year or so. He still has 2 years of prior commitment to finish, but he's like done taking jobs for other things. So it's just something that's completely opened up for our family, like more freedom that we have been able to get because of this. Hannah sent me a list of some things to talk about. And one of the things she asked is, what's a tough season that you've overcame? So one thing that I have seen in Plexus is we have a really hard time controlling our emotions and controlling our feelings. And if we ever walk away from this business, from this opportunity, I feel like it's a time when we don't feel like things are going well. We're leading off of our emotions. And whenever I was sitting at my kitchen table in 2016, God told me, Kara, this is not about you. This is going to be used for my good and my glory. And during my 7 years at Senior Ruby, all kinds of other things have flown my way. And there were different opportunities that flashed before my life. And there were seasons where I felt like we were going nowhere. We were stuck and I'm never going to push past this. And I remember sitting there and taking my business instead of walking away in a very low season when I was wanting to turn my back on Plexus, taking the time and not going off my feelings and my emotion, but actually fasting and praying over my business. So one of the biggest things that I'm always going to encourage you to do is if you're ever questioning if this is for you, if you're ever questioning if you need to continue, to never ever make a decision on emotion, but always make a decision on what God is calling you to do. And fasting and prayer is going to do that. Also, one of the things that I think about is so many times in Plexus, I've heard like, know your why, define your why. And eventually I was like, it just sounded a little cliche to me, like, just let's move past finding your why, and what you're passionate about. But for me, I'm not a person that is necessarily passionate about health. I'm not passionate about supplements or anything like that. But one thing that I am extremely passionate is about Jesus. And I have all of these plans in my heart and ministries in my heart and things that God has, he has spoken to my family that he wants us to use. And that is one of the biggest things that stands in my face, because even though I'm not necessarily passionate, I love what our products do. Do not get me wrong. They've changed my life. They've changed my sister's life, my kids' lives. Like they've done so much for us, but it's not something that, I think would keep me going. But the vehicle of Jesus is, and what I can use, the freedom that he's given my family. And I'm like, there's a reason that he's given my family so much time freedom and what he's planted in our hearts, and being able to always focus on that is one thing that I can always continue moving forward, because it's given me a chance to have so much impact and proclaim his name to so many people. And I'm super thankful and grateful for that. I'm looking at her questions. Sorry if I keep looking down. One of the things that I feel like I had to learn too was learning to love people really, really well and be able to learn how to pour into people. That's not something that necessarily came natural to me, but that was one of the biggest things that finally got me to Diamond, was being willing to hold other people's hands and walk through this journey with them. So many people come in and they don't have the belief, they don't have the vision that I have, or that I even had early on. So being willing to take the time to do that. And so many people want to work, but they don't know how to work. So once I got to creating, which I know you guys have all kinds of things and events going on, but once we got to a place where we were creating, like weekly events and giving, like I would give everybody the scripts and give everybody bite-sized pieces. Somebody would sign up with me and I would tell them, okay, post this here, do this here. And once you do this, come back to me. And then I would give them the next thing to say. And then I would give them the next thing to say. And I would work with people one-on-one and literally just hold their hand for months at a time. And sometimes I almost felt like working somebody else's business more. But once you get to that point where eventually they feel confident in doing themselves because you're willing to sit there and hold their hand and do that for them over and over again. Did you have anything else that you specifically wanted me to address or talk about?
There's a couple questions in the chat here. So let's see. Oh, someone's sarcastic. They were like, have you talked to your old boss since? With a wink face.
My old boss's daughter signed up with me last month and went silver in just a couple of days.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I've talked to him, but I don't know if he knows that I ever share that story.
That's funny. Okay. So besides personal training, what else propelled you forward? I've been at senior gold forever.
So one of the things that my team did not have was team calls, which you guys have those, but I started team calls and I started monthly trainings with my team. And that was one of the things that really pushed us forward. So because I can recruit. That's one thing that I just feel like I'm gifted at, is signing people up. And, but the whole retaining and getting them to do the same thing was not something that I was doing very well. So I started team calls and creating more community on my team, but I also started doing like a 5 to 7 day training. I would change it up and I would meet with people. We would meet on Zoom like 3 to 4 days a week. And I would literally just break down exactly what I was doing every single day and give them the scripts. Like I did not realize how much people just needed wording and what to say. And we just like have this is what Plexus is. We're a health and happiness company. We're focused on gut health, blood sugar regulations, things like that. This is like, what are your issues? And then what to recommend, and just breaking it down for them. And once they get to pricing. So that's something that I feel like has really helped our team, is finally just, like I said, like being spoon fed almost on what to do, because people want to share. That was my sister. My sister she ranked Emerald this year, but it was a teacher before Plexus. She literally watched me for years. And that was like one of the aha moments, is because she just did not believe she could do it. And when somebody would ask her a question about Plexus, she would just freeze because she wouldn't know what to say. And so that helps.
Yeah. I love that. Another question was, any trainings or books that helped you push past the fear of confrontation? Let me make sure that's what it said. Yeah, confrontation.
I don't know if there's like a specific book. I really like the Success Principles book. I've went back to that book a lot, and I have coached my team on that book a lot. I also listened to a leadership podcast with Craig Gashel. Is that his name? I feel like he has a lot of really good leadership information. And once you can see yourself as a leader too, I feel like that changes things a lot. Like one of the things I'm really trying to push on my team right now is helping them understand, like, you are a leader. If you want an event, you can host an event. If you want to do like a messenger chat, you can, like, you don't have to wait on me. Like if you had a crazy weekend and you talked to 20, 30 people this weekend, and Monday you're wanting to do some follow-ups, like throw together an event and invite those 20 people to that little event that you can do. But just understanding that this is your organization and you have control of it.
I love that too. That's like such a key factor a lot of times. Does anyone else have questions that they want to pop on and ask?
Confrontation too, like just learning that you can do hard things and you can do things scared. and it doesn't always have to be a bad thing, and just addressing something. That's what I've had to learn. Like, just because they're having issues with their product doesn't mean it's a bad thing or anything personal against me. It's just something that we want to walk through. And one of the things that I have written on my wall is things that yield the most fruit require sacrifice. So like just being willing to step out of your comfort zone and put in like that extra effort and learning to do that.
Kara, I really like how, like, with your story, you're honest and saying, I was comfortable. Like, sure, you wanted for those 7 years, I'm sure, to advance. I'm sure you wanted to see growth in your business, but you also maybe didn't need it. And I like that, like, at that point when you saw that look in your husband's eyes, that you were reminded of the opportunity that you had. And I feel like there are so many times where we can just sit in comfort, but we're not really like there's comfort, but there's also that tension of like, you could be doing more, and you've got a team that you could be leading, and a team of people that are trusting you to like step it up. And I really love that when you said that when you began to fight for your family's freedom, it wasn't like you created all these crazy systems. It was you were showing your team what you were doing. You were holding the hands of the people who wanted the work and wanted the business, and you were walking them through. And I think so often we just overcomplicate, and then we freeze and we think, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to do this. When actually we do, because it is simple. You share with your people what you did to get to where you are. And we do have so many resources, but I love too that you just said you put your head down. Like, I think that so often we get to that place of, well, if it's the Lord's timing, or, I hope that something will come to me, and we just sit.
Yeah.
But if we want to have growth in our business, people want to follow leaders who are leading the way, who are raising that leadership lid. And I love that that's what you did. And it wasn't crazy. It was simple, but you just put your head down. So my question for you, that was a really long intro that actually wasn't even an intro to my question. But my question to you is, you are from Missouri. I'm sorry, I told people you're from Oklahoma. Same, close.
We're neighbors.
So you're in Missouri. Your mother's a diamond. Your sister's an emerald. I assume you guys probably all live similar, like you kind of live close to one another. You guys in the same town or close?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So I'd love for you to talk through that, because you all three have similar networks, which we hear often all across the board with Plexus of, oh, well, so-and-so's from my same town. Like, it's overly saturated. Like, we know the same people. How did you guys go about like growing your network, and all three of you going jewel level from the same small town in Missouri?
Honestly, we just use social media, and we use Facebook, and we are constantly expanding our network through Facebook. I am always telling my team, like, we are so lucky that we don't have to go door to door anymore. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like who's in your town, because most of the time we're more talking to people on social media. So I'm going to groups, and I am sending friend requests all the time, and I'm doing whatever I can to get people on my Facebook page. And I know a lot of people say, don't post a lot of testimonies on Facebook and things like that, but that's something that we do a lot of, and it works really, really well for us. And another thing that we do is we have a really incredible, we call it the Health and Happiness Community, and it's a group page, and it's full of testimonies. And that's, we do whatever we can to get people into that. And we make it super interactive. So we tell our team, like, you take ownership of this group, and you put your people in here, and then you make posts in here. And we have a thing before anybody can get in the group, they have to ask like who added them to the group. So when somebody's wanting information, we're always making sure they go to whoever added them to that group. But I think that has a lot to do with our success too, is having such an active page and constantly adding people to that all the time. But reaching out and expanding it, like, I feel like I got rid of my network within like the first year that I was doing this. So, but social media has helped that not be the reason.
You hear that a lot with the groups. Like Tamara Holloway, who is in our upline, y'all, she has multiple level 1 jewels that she found from groups. Jordan Roddenberry is the same way. And I don't know about you guys, but that is not an area of expertise for me, because I feel like when I go into groups, I'm either getting in trouble and like quieted or like kicked out of the group because like I've made one response, like, sharing about my products, or it just is so overwhelming that it's like I care so much about authenticity. I care so much about relationship, and I don't want people to like think that I'm just out trying to like make a buck off of them, but I want to help them. So do you have any advice to that? Because I know I'm not the only one. I know a lot of us have shared that frustration. How do you go about doing it in a way that's like authentic, not salesy, and you're not getting kicked out of groups?
If I ever get kicked out of groups, it doesn't bother me. Usually I just kind of like, that's not something that's in my personality. I don't know. Like I will do a lot of friend requests in group, and I will just ask people to like friend me if they're wanting to know more about whatever I'm doing. Cause I want my goal is, I know not nobody, but most people are never, ever going to buy from me that very first conversation. So I'm just thinking that if I can get them on my page somehow and get them to friend request me, and then if they're liking my post or if they're making any comments, then I can open that up. Like, thank you so much for liking my post. I always appreciate the support. Like, were you looking for more information, or were you just wanting to, offer support at that time? Like something like that, like just always trying to thank them. And then I'm always trying to find ways to follow up, whether that be a messenger chat or like some sort of sale or something that we're having. Like follow up is just, I think we lose a lot of people in my team. We lose a lot of people because we get discouraged because they didn't buy from us our first conversation or our first interaction. And so like I will have people sign up now that maybe I first talked to them like 2 years ago or something from a post. But that's something in the beginning too. Whenever you start doing that, you just have to be willing to be patient, because again, like you're constantly sowing seeds. So just waiting for those people to come in front that you've talked to that have been watching you for a while. And that's why like at the end of the conversation, whenever I have with people, like I'm always like, I always try to end it with like, can I add you to our health and happiness community? And you can just be a fly on the wall and just see how these are helping others. And then most of the time, not a lot of the time, like they're coming back. Okay, like I'm convinced after getting in there. That helpful?
So good. So simple. So good. Thank you. Anybody else have questions?
One thing that you mentioned a while ago too, you said the thing, God's timing, like that's one thing that I've heard a lot too. Like if I'm meant to be diamond, I will get there sort of thing. And I always use the analogy with my team. Like, if we have like a wooden chair or a wooden table, like somebody had to cut down the tree and put it into boards and make like put in the effort to create this table or tree. Like nobody sat by a tree and was like, in God's timing, I'll have a table or chairs. Like they had to put their head down and get to work because God provided the resource to give them so they could get the outcome that they were desiring.
Yeah. Can we like make that into a quote or something?
Or stitch it into a pillow?
Yeah. It's so good. And that's another analogy. It's like you ask God for something, be expecting to pick up the shovel, right? Like he doesn't, he wants action from us. And so a lot of times we have this opportunity in our lap, and we kind of just mull on it. Like, and I love hearing that you had this like this shift in this drive that really led you to elevate yourself so that your team could elevate. And yeah, no crazy like systems or anything. It's just a lot of what we know we need to be doing, but a lot of times we don't necessarily do it. Any last questions?
I have one. Kara, you said that your customer care, like you can recruit like a boss basically, but your customer care and retention was maybe not the best. Can you tell us like what it used to look like and what it looks like now?
It used to be like I would sign somebody up and they would be lucky to hear from me again. Like I'm being honest. Like I was worrying about getting new people and not worried about taking care of what I had. And now I've made it easy for myself and just create a board, like a follow-up board. So it's like in a couple of days, like first I'm like, have your products arrive, like reminding them like, hey, you have a subscription, you're going to get perks if your subscription goes out, sort of thing, but also telling them how to control and edit that, because I don't ever want a subscription going out and them coming at me and like being upset with me that it came out. And then in a couple of days, like, are your products in? This is how you take them. And then in a week or two, like asking them, how things are going and asking them how the flavors of everything are and how they're feeling, but just trying to be in their face, keeping it short, keeping it simple. But paying attention to them at the same time.
How many of your testimonies that you say you share, how many would you say are like opportunity versus products?
We have a lot of product testimonies for the most part, especially in our health and happiness community. We have been working on as a team to try to be bolder about sharing the opportunity though, because that's just the difference in getting wholesale customers versus getting leaders that are ready to work and willing to work. It's so much easier to, whenever you sign somebody that's coming in for the business, it's easier to guide them and how to do it. Like a wholesale customer is like, I don't even care to get my products paid for. Like, I'm just here to drink the slim sort of thing. But one thing that I've noticed about getting business builders happens a lot more whenever I'm being more bold about my story and being more bold about my testimony and being willing to like put that on Facebook over and over again. And just simple things like the Hawaii trip was a big thing, but like a lot of times people are thinking like whenever they say like financial freedom, like, like all of this money and things like that. But a lot of times for somebody like they would love to be able to pay for their kids' soccer without stressing about it, or they would love just to be able to pay their car payment or their mortgage. And like that allows freedom for a lot of people. So if you have something doing that, but being bold about that I am paying our electric bill this month and it didn't have to come out of our family's budget, or I just bought groceries for my whole family all on plexus. Like people are looking for that, especially whenever gas prices are $100 and groceries are way more too. Yeah. That's what I talked about that not very long ago in my stories. Like I filled up my Tahoe and it was almost $100. And I was like, I am so grateful that I'm not having to stress about this because Plexus is covering my gas. Like something super simple. People are like, I'm needing my gas paid for.
Yeah, totally. And everyone, you will hear that time and time again. If you are like, I want people to be doing this with me and I want someone to be like working together, then you need to be showing them what this opportunity can do for them and the ways that it provides. And it doesn't have to be a weird way. It doesn't have to be making a big complex about like, oh, I don't know, I can't talk about money or whatever, but people, that is like one of the top stressors in people's lives is finances and how they're going to pay for different things. So I love that you touched on that as well. Well, go ahead.
I had to get over that in the beginning. Like I was afraid to post about money on my Facebook page and stuff like that. And I would always think about my church and like what they would think and stuff like that. But I just, mentally had to get over that and realize like, it's not wrong to have money. And it's like, I feel like if God can trust you with money, he's going to bless you with more money. And so you can be like, God needs his people equipped to do his will and his work. So if we are so busy stressing on how we're going to pay the next bill or how we're like, if we're just surviving, then we're so focused on surviving that we can't be focused on God's people or other people that are hurting and bringing them into his kingdom. So that's something that I always think of. Like, it's great that I'm equipped to where I can help other people if I need to.
Amen. And I'm going to tell you that at my church, I have felt that before, and I have felt hesitation because I want people, especially in my church, to like know my heart. And I remember when we started going to a new church a year and a half ago, and one of the first sermons that I heard, our pastor said something about how it was a female that was funding Jesus's ministry. What's her name? Oh gosh, what was her name? I can't remember her name. Anyhow, and so he was like talking about like, it's not bad to have money. And I think that at that point it was like, that's okay. Like, it's okay to be a female. It's okay to be earning money because we can then turn around and we can help in so many areas. And so I think it's all a perspective of how you're doing it, and you're doing it in a way to help other people. So that way can eliminate that stress, and their family can be more involved and giving more. And I just think it's a sensitive topic, but if you can be very careful with the way that you word it and share it from your heart, then it can be very impactful. Anything else? Any other questions?
Thank you so much, Kara. It was so great. And I know I have a full page of notes. I got a kick in the pants with a lot of different like, oh yeah, I need to be doing better that, or this is a way that I can grow. And it was so impactful. Thank you. And I know we will be in touch, and I'll get your address so we can send you a little thank you. Everyone send thank yous, and you have a good night. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kara.
We're going to now go into our group, everyone.
Real quick though, if you're not in accountability, I want you guys to listen up. Tomorrow is when the limited time offer drops for our October Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So this is the really cool canteen that's part of the limited time offer. It's really nice. I want to say it's like 16 ounces, but it's like really, really nice quality. I don't know if you guys can see, it's labeling. It's got our plexus on there, and it's got the breast cancer ribbon as the X. It's really beautiful. It's really sleek feeling. I love it. And so I just want to make sure you guys all know about it. It is limited time offer. And I know that some of us who've been a participant of the limited time offers, we kind of get a little gun shy because we've seen the limited time offers like fly off the shelves in 23 minutes before anybody can get in there. So Plexus is aware of that, and they know that they are rebuilding the trust of the field. And so they have a lot of product, but that doesn't mean you need to wait for, 3 weeks. If you really want this product, you need to prioritize this to try to get it tomorrow or the next day. But they are aware that that is something that they need to work on. So they have a lot of inventory. If you guys are not familiar with the different products that they're offering, it's really, really unique, really special, really honing in on the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So they've got Active, and it's a Berry Brave flavor. They have Collagen, which is a Berry Strong collagen. They have the Breast Check Kit, and then they're doing a monetary donation for every purchase of one of these special limited time offers. They're doing a donation, and I believe it's to Susan G. Komen, I believe, but don't quote me on that. Okay, let me figure that out in Help Center. I could be wrong on that, but they are for sure doing monetary donation. They have bundles, including this water bottle. This first bundle is the Berry Brave Active, the Berry Strong Collagen, the water bottle, and then a $3 monetary donation, and that one's $99.95, so $100. That one is a 60 PV. And then the big one, the big bundle, is the Active, the Collagen, the Breast Check Kit, which lasts for 10 years, and the water bottle, another $3 donation, and then another donated Breast Check Kit. I don't know who they're donating that to. I'm assuming the same organization. And that's $125.95. So the PVs are all under 100, which some people are like, oh, wait, we want it to be 100. But actually, these lower PVs are going to help bump the pay point. I know I don't want to get into I don't want to cause confusion talking math, but that's actually a good thing. And so hopefully we can be getting our people to where they have 100 PV by adding on something else, or maybe this is an add-on to their current products. But that lower PV is going to help our pay point. And that's what our goal is our goal, especially with corporate. Their main focus right now, not main, I don't want to speak for them, but a big focus for them is getting that pay point up to at least $3 a pay point, which increases all of the field's paycheck. So they're aware of that. I'm excited for this program. It's dropping tomorrow. So be looking for different marketing things through the Plexus Ambassador page, through our page, and we'll just be sharing all the different marketing things too in our threads. So anybody have any questions on that? Breast Cancer Foundation. Okay, great. Thank you, Kylie. I don't know if they're available to look at, Gina. I haven't looked in the back office. They tend to be sooner. You might want to look later tonight. They might be on there. If you don't, so I don't have to take it. Wait, what? When? Okay, I don't know what time the drop is, you guys. I'm not exactly sure, but it'll be in the morning. Okay, anybody have any questions on this? Okay, awesome. If you are a part of accountability group, go ahead and stay on, and then we will stop recording. We have decided to not record